Hi, welcome to Counselor Knight's Corner again. We're here today to talk about positives and negatives. Not positive and negative numbers. I'm not a math teacher. But positive and negative actions and emotions and feelings. You know, one of the most basic needs for people is that we need to feel good about ourselves. We need to have what's called good self-concept, meaning we need to feel positive about ourselves. The better our self-concept is, the better we're going to be with our goals and our attitudes and our decisions. I'm going to share a story with you, brought to you by a wonderful company called Positive Action, about 3 people. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of their positive actions at the end. Anne-Marie hit the front door of her aunt's house on a dead run, steps ahead of her big brother Sam. She was laughing and teasing, telling him he was more than just a pretty face. Sam had gotten an A on a difficult science test, the one about cells. Yeah, Anne-Marie, but I studied hard. Science isn't easy for me. Hey, I know. And I'm proud of you. Let's go tell Aunt Louise. Anne-Marie and Sam rushed to Aunt Louise's office and found her working. She opened her arms wide and scooped her niece and nephew up in a big hug, enjoying every second of their presence in her life. Aunt Louise was eager to listen to what they had to tell her. Sam and Anne-Marie told her about Sam's test and how hard he had studied, and about Anne-Marie's fun run coming up on Saturday, and how she'd been training every day. Aunt Louise asked, "So, how do you feel about yourselves when you do those things, those positive actions?" "Great, Aunt Louise. Just great," Anne-Marie and Sam said the same words at the same time. There was silence for a second or two. Aunt Marie grinned and said, "That goes double for me." All 3 looked at one another and laughed. "Just wait until you get home and tell your parents," Aunt Louise said. "They are going to love Sam's news." All right, so let's talk a little bit about some of these positive actions that occurred in this short little story. Well, positive actions that Anne-Marie was doing for herself were physical. She was trying to do a fun run, and she was working hard towards it. Some positive actions that Sam was doing was he was learning to study, and he knew that science was not a good subject for him. But he knew he had to study a little bit more, and it paid off for him. And Aunt Louise even had a positive action, and that was showing how much she cared for both of them and how glad she was to have them in her life. So we talked a little bit about this self-concept, this self-confidence, this positive thinking about ourselves and how important it is to us. But did you know that our effect on someone else's self-concept can also affect ours? You got to think about, when I do good, I feel good. And when I do bad, I feel bad. And that's something I want you to start thinking about, is choosing to do positive actions. So self-concept can have some negative feelings and some positive feelings. And we're going to work on this a little bit here in a little bit. So I want you to start choosing positive actions. It's harder work to be positive than negative. Seems crazy, right? But think about it. If you're going to be respectful, you have to think about what you say, how you say it. You got to really put some effort into it. If you're going to be rude, there's no thinking about it. It doesn't require any intellect. It doesn't require any of you to be sensitive or think about what you're saying. You just do whatever you want. That's why being positive and having a good self-concept is something that you really have to work hard on. Now, even though positive actions are more difficult, they are so much more rewarding. So, I want you to get a piece of paper. I just took one piece of paper and I cut it in half. And I want you to get a marker. And on one side, I want you to draw yourself a happy face. And then on the other one, I want you to draw a sad face. Now, if you remember quickly, I showed you these different types of emotions that can be used for self-concept. As I go through them, I want you to either raise up a sad face or a happy face when you hear these terms. All right, let's start going over these. Happy. Is that a happy face or a sad face? I think it's going to be a happy face. How about unhappy? I think that's a no-brainer. What about having confident self-concept? Is that a good thing? Is that a positive thing? It is. But that can be a really hard concept. In fact, self-confidence is something that even adults have to work on a daily basis. Always making sure that they give themselves a slight pat on the back and that they're doing a good job. You kind of have to reassure yourself. All right. How about uncertain? Have you ever felt uncertain about stuff? I don't like uncertain. I like things planned out, and I like to know what I'm doing. Uncertain to me is really hard. In fact, uncertain kind of goes with my next term, anxious. Ever felt anxious about a test? Yeah, definitely that unhappy face, huh? What about peaceful or hopeful? Happy or sad? Definitely a happy face. Those are pleasant thoughts. But yes, it is so hard sometimes to be peaceful at your brother or sister. And sometimes it's really hard to be hopeful about something, maybe even at school or at home. Something you got to work on it. And then successful and unsuccessful. If we've got to be successful, that is definitely going to be a happy face. Going to be hard, but it's something to work on. Remember, positive actions are more difficult, but they're so much more rewarding. Remember, we feel good about ourselves when we do positive actions. And there is a positive way to do everything. We just have to stop and think about it. And as we leave today, I want you to think of something. I took an egg and I hollowed it out. I know, you're probably like, why is Counselor Knight bringing an egg into this lesson? That's because an egg that's empty, that's just the shell, is really fragile. I want you to think of yourself as an egg. Be careful with your self-concept. It's going to be hard, and you got to take care of it. And I also want you to think of this egg as someone else's self-concept. When you treat others well and positively, you are going to feel so good about yourself. And that is then going to make you have more positive rewards and goals and decisions. And you're going to be on the better path to doing better things. So today, I leave you. Think about being positive. And I don't mean just to other people. I mean to yourself. Remember, being positive about yourself is one of the most basic needs we have. Have a good job, good day, do a good job, and have a great self-concept positive day. Thanks for joining Counselor Night. Thank you.